Hello everyone, welcome to Silent Hill 4. I've wanted to play this for a long time. So the reason I'm doing this is because I've heard that this is a game that has a very good story, but it's very frustrating to play. If you don't play this game properly, it will become hell for you. So hopefully I can show you how to play the game properly with the least amount of frustrations, and you can enjoy the story. And maybe pick up some tips for your own playthrough. So I've adjusted the brightness just a bit because this is kind of a dark game. I want to make sure you guys can see. If it's too bright on screen, I'll turn it down just a bit. We have the subtitles on. You can see here we have the noise effect off. We're going to turn that off because I do not like the noise effect. That grain filter, I don't like it in any of the Silent Hills. I don't like it in Spider-Man. I don't like it in Resident Evil. And I don't like it here, so we're going to switch that off. I know that's a big issue for some fans. They love the grain filter. Not me. I do not like that thing in any single game I've ever played, not even Silent Hill 2, so that's off. Yeah, we're going to stick with the brightness for now. I wanted to play this game on my laptop, but that did not work out. It turns out that game has all sorts of bugs and is basically unplayable on my PC. I tried to play it on my gaming laptop, and it's just there's all sorts of issues plaguing that game, and it's available on GOG. I tried to play just the standard way, just playing the standard copy on the gaming laptop. It did not work out. The controller was just having all sorts of glitches. Stuff wasn't showing up right. The aspect ratio was wrong. It was just a whole bunch of bugs and messes that I just did not care to resolve. So we're going to stick with the good old-fashioned PS2. No upscaling. I'm not using any type of upscaler, even though I have one, but I'm not using it. I'm not using it for this. I'm recording straight from my PS2. So we're going old school with this one. We're going old-fashioned. Now, you do have options once you beat the game. You do have options as to which game mode you want to play. We're going to do a good old-fashioned playthrough from the very beginning, like if we're just playing the game for the first time. See, you have difficulties. I'm going to stick with normal for now. Hard is it can get a little difficult. This game is a lot more difficult than other Silent Hill titles, so you want to be aware of that. I'm going to do normal. I think we actually have to load one of the old saves in order to get the other two game modes, but I'll explain them as we get further into it. Here we go. It was 2 years ago that Henry Townsend moved into room 302 of South Ashfield Heights, an apartment building in the medium-sized city of Ashfield. Henry was happy and enjoying his new life. Looks like he doesn't clean his ceiling. I think it's filthy. But 5 days ago, something strange happened. He began to have a recurring dream each night. One other thing. He couldn't leave room 302. Here we go. Old school PS2 classic. Straight from, 2005? Same year as Resident Evil 4. I remember this game being a big deal because both survival horror series were basically Resident Evil was revolutionizing its gameplay, but Silent Hill was trying to catch up just a bit. And so they tried to do some different things with this one, and for the most part, they did not work out. What's with this room? That stock scream for like the 1970s sound effects. They couldn't find a better screen than that, could they? Okay, so it doesn't look too great. It doesn't look too bright so far, so I might just keep it this way. It's really difficult because I actually turned on my brightness on the laptop for this one, just to make sure that it's not too bright for you guys, but it's still pretty dark on the recording software on Elgato, so like I said, I think the game is just naturally dark. It's not as dark as Silent Hill 3, where some places you can't even see, but it's still kind of dark. It's covered in blood and rust. This is my room, but what the hell has happened to it? This room. Is it really my room? It's in terrible shape. The air is so heavy, my head hurts. So since I'm not using an upscaler, I'm gonna be honest, this thing looks terrible on HDTV. But since you guys are seeing the recording straight from the PS2, it should look a lot better for you guys. But damn, it looks rough. Rough with a capital F. That's why I wanted to record on my gaming laptop because it looked a lot better when I tried it. But it's just too unplayable. Like there's so many bugs and so many features that haven't been properly optimized, and the game is actually missing several of the hauntings, which is a pretty important part of the game. So that's another reason why I'm playing this version. I want you to get the full experience. I don't want to be missing, some of the most critical hauntings in the game, stuff that gives the game flavor. Like you might as well not even play it at that point if it's missing certain important parts. Door shut for good. We ain't getting in there. Door shut tight, it won't open at all. Yeah, it looks like it's a moth cupboard. Yeah, this looks terrible on freaking HDTV, but it doesn't look too bad on the recording software, so as long as you guys can see it, right? What's this? I don't know, man. It looks like a storage box to me. Where did this big TV come from? I thought I had a record player here. You remember these old TVs? Look at this shit. I had a TV just like this. Good old CRT. This game looked gorgeous on a CRT. Then you switch it over to the latest technology and it looks like crap. Another reason Konami should do a remaster. They never even tried with this one. They just did that faulty piece of shit remaster for 2 and 3 and just called it a day when it didn't work. God forbid you try like Capcom where you just do it over and over until you get it right. Nope. Konami was like, one try, it did not work, it's over. They just gave it one half-ass try. If it had been Capcom, they'd have given it like 7 tries until I finally got it right. This clock, when did it stop working? Did I even have a clock in this room before? Looks like the hour's 10:05. I don't even know what this is. It's a radio, man. You don't know what a radio is? Fool. These books, they're not mine. The window, I can't get it open. Yeah, it looks like moths had just eaten away this whole room. Who is this guy? Who are all these people? 21 people. It can't be. Why are they here? That'll become an important number. 21. It's part of an old picture book. There was once a baby and a mother who were connected by a magical cord. But one day the cord was cut and the mother went to sleep. The baby was left all alone. But the baby made lots of friends at Wish House, and everyone was very nice to him. The baby was happy. It's ripped here and I can't read anymore. Creepy. It looks like a face. So you may hear some button pressing here. The PS2 controller is kind of squeaky. Haven't used it in like 2 years, so bear with me. This also always has issues with this game in particular. I don't know why, but for some reason, like the control drift tends to happen with this game, where you see that little eye clicker on the left. Sometimes it tends to go out of control. I don't really know why. It was the same thing with another PS2 controller I have, so I think it's just part of the game for whatever reason. What is this photo? It's all faded and I can't see it well. Not interested in food at all. My head hurts. Yeah, who could eat something like this? I don't feel like washing my hands right now. I don't think hand washing will help. It smells horrible. I'm afraid to open it up. Yeah, this is one problem with Konami. They don't really treat their legacy games well. These shoes, they're not even my size. Yeah, they don't really treat their legacy well. Like, Capcom's not super perfect about it, but at least they give their old games some respect. I mean, they even dragged out Power Stone. I just saw that today on the Nintendo Direct that they did in the morning. They dragged out Power Stone 2, which a lot of people have been requesting. So Capcom overall is pretty decent at managing its older games. Konami, not so much. Konami just disrespects them over and over. Alright, here we go. Things are gonna go to shit. Yeah, it's amazing the distinction between the capturing software, how good it looks, and the setting on my screen. Here we go. Got the spider webs. Oh, here we go. Crackhead Central. Look at that thing. Kinda looking down, is that flash effect is a bit disorienting. So this is a bit disturbing when I first saw it, but I think the effect is kind of undercut by the fact that it doesn't actually do anything. I thought maybe the ghost would have killed him right there, but no, it just kind of moans all over him. This is a nice theme. I listen to it from time to time on the computer. It's pretty much one of the best Silent Hill songs around. I think it's called Room of Angel. One thing you cannot fault this game for is its soundtrack. It has a very beautiful soundtrack, even though the direction is not the best because most of the old team was gone, so Akira Yamaoka took over for the whole project, and he's just a composer and sound director, so it's not a good idea to put the sound man in charge of the whole game, because he's not going to know what to do in certain parts. See, he was the producer and director and pretty much handled everything, so as far as directing the team, so he had an executive producer, but like Joe Bob Briggs said, executive producers in movies, and I assume probably games too, is just a money man. It's just a guy who keeps getting money from the company to make sure everything's funded. They're not really on set, or I guess here in the studio that much. They're just a money man. So Akiro's in charge, and he was a composer, not a director, so it's not surprising this game is rough around the edges, because
oh man,
he probably did not have the best idea of what he was doing.
What a dream.
Henry just sounds like he's perpetually strung out, like the song from Silent Hill 3 said. I believe that's a synonym for just being on drugs, right? Musicians are strung out. I always thought this was neat. The fact that you can call outside your room. You can only call 2 numbers, but it's a nice little feature. It makes it seem like you are someone in touch with the outside world. Look at that old-fashioned dial phone. Nobody has those nowadays, right? I don't think even old ladies have those phones nowadays. It's all cell phones, and even the people who have landlines have more sophisticated phones than these. So you do not see these phones nowadays. That's an antique right there. That old-fashioned ringing.
Hello?
I remember my grandmother had a rotary phone in Puerto Rico. That was years ago. 95.
What?
It's not connected, Henry.
Cut.
So this used to be one of my games that I would always replay every Halloween. I would always replay Silent Hill 2, 3, and 4. Not 1, because unfortunately 1 became a bit rough to play after a while being on the PS1, but I would always replay these 3. These 3. Until eventually I got the HD TV, and then another, and they kind of became a chore to replay because they just looked horrible. I lucked out with one TV. I had a Sony Bravia that for some reason I don't know if maybe Sony optimized it for games, but the games actually look really good on there, even on the PS2. And then that TV broke. It, it did not get damaged. I think it just outlasted its lifespan. The color started getting all messed up and faded. It did not work, and so I had to replace it quickly. And I got a TCL. Well, first, let's see. No, I had the RCA first. That one was okay. Then the Sony, okay, which was better. And then, yeah, the TCL. And the TCL is a smart TV, which is pretty good. I mean, for a cheap Chinese TV, it's pretty decent, but unfortunately, it does not have the optimization that the Sony Bravia had, so the games look horrible here. I tried to buy an upscaler for it, but the problem is, unless you get one of those retro things that cost like $175, the upscalers are pretty crap, no matter what price they are. You can get a $20 one, you can get a $50 one. It doesn't matter the price. Unless it's a retro thing, they look like crap, so that's one reason why I prefer to play Silent Hill 2 on PC, on my laptop, because it has the enhanced edition. So they cleaned up all that stuff. You know, the fans cleaned up all that stuff. And then Silent Hill 3 doesn't look that bad either, even though it didn't get any work on it, barely, but it still looks decent. It's playable. But this is definitely a struggle. There are a lot of small items here, but none is particularly interesting. It's a brand new scrapbook. You can view the contents of the scrapbook by pressing the triangle button. It's a photo of the lighthouse near a lake in Silent Hill. It feels a little bit lonely for a tourist town, but it's a nice place to relax and heal your soul. Yeah, Henry, it'd also steal your soul if you stay there for too long. Ask Alessa. She can verify all that crap. And Harry, I suppose, and James, who never left, so it definitely stole his soul. He's gone. He's in the Twilight Zone now. It's just a quick shot I took in downtown Silent Hill. It's a nice tourist town about half a day's drive from here. So it's actually kind of far from Ashfield because half a day's drive. So if you think about it, half a day depends on what it means. Does it mean the full day or the like the driving hours, like the work day? Because if it means like the work day, that's probably a good 6 hours or so. So that's still kind of far. If it means a whole day's or like a half a day's drive, like 12 hours, it's actually pretty far. So in theory, if you live in Ashfield, you should be pretty safe from the Silent Hill effect because you're way, way far. Even though you're still in Maine, you're way far from that place. Look at that. Who's that mysterious woman stretching her arms and making a spectacle of herself before she goes down into the subway? God damn, woman, just go. Then she saunters down there. That woman is going to catch that subway. She's like, I'm going to take that subway no matter what. One decent thing you'll notice about this, much later on, it's story spoilers, but it's not a major one. It's just a very tiny one. But as you get further into the game, near the end of the game, you'll look out the window, you see there's nobody there, and without giving away too much, I think that's intentional hint that the stuff going on in Henry's room is definitely starting to affect the outside world at one point. You can see it's taking its toll. So like once he gets to that part, Henry better not screw it up, because if he does, the world is probably fucked. Look at that bar Southfield 555-3750. So let's call that number before we do anything else. That's my old nemesis there, 555. I hate that thing. I hate it. It just instantly pulls me out of any story once I see that number, because we all know that's code for fictional number, and I get why I use it, but it's just annoying to see it pop up in thousands of films and games and shows. It just bugs the hell out of me. That noise just now, what was that? Okay, so we obviously dialed the wrong number. Let's not do that again. This is my bed. Oh yeah, Henry lives like a bachelor. Look at this piece of crap bed. Like, look at it. This sheet does not look comfortable. It looks rough as hell. Like, is that wool? There's only one pillow. What kind of psycho only sleeps with one pillow? Henry Townsend, that's who. So it's everybody's favorite Silent Hill protagonist, right? Henry Townsend. I'm going to be honest with you. This is my least favorite of all the Silent Hill protagonists. Like even Alex from Homecoming, as much of a piece of crap as he is, even that guy, as unlikable as he is still better than Henry. I've never really gone in for Henry. I know the theory behind him. Oh, we want to make him as bland as possible because we want you to be a blank slate. We want you to imagine that you are the one trapped in room 302 and you are the one going into Silent Hill and a whole bunch of other dimensions and stuff. But it's kind of like Isaac in the first Dead Space before they really gave him a personality. He was just boring, bland, silent man. It's meant to make you empathize with the character, but what it does for me is actually alienates me from the character because he has no traits. There's nobody there. He's just a man. He's just a dude. No different than any other the millions of random dudes you might see in the outside world. So there's nothing to draw me to him or connect me to him. I just have never liked him. I don't feel like washing my face right now. And I'll actually tell you who I think should have been the protagonist of the game in a few minutes. There's nothing to do here. I guess because he can't eat and he can't drink, time's kind of frozen in the room, so there's no need to use the toilet because it probably feels like, you've only been here for like a couple hours, even though he's been here for 5 days. Just a normal bathroom. Nothing has changed since I moved here 2 years ago. Just typical stuff you find around the sink. Nothing particularly interesting. This always reminds you of the meme you see online where you see the towels and you see a cat sitting between the towels. And I think the meme says something like, "This towel is unusually scratchy." You got a cat pretending to be a towel. It's a gray cat. Then the second one would be the one with the cat pretending to be a staircase where he's just waiting to kill someone. He's right in the staircase. So if you step on that cat, one, you're going to hurt him. But then also, like, if you look down, you see the cat, what are you going to do? You're going to tumble down the stairs and kill yourself. The cat is literally waiting to commit murder by posing as a step on the staircase. Those two memes are hilarious. Freaking cats. All right, here we go. That's eerie. That sound right there. 5 days ago, that's when I first had the nightmare. Haven't been able to get out of my room since then. Phone doesn't work. TV doesn't work. I can't even get anybody to hear me when I yell. My horror world has suddenly turned insane. My door is chained up. The windows are sealed shut. And on top of that, someone chained the door from the inside. So someone was in there. How am I going to get it out of here? Don't go out, Walter.
What the hell?
There's Henry's catchphrase.
What's
what the
going
hell?
on here?
So what do you think? Is that Walter telling him to not go out, or is it someone warning him to don't go out because of Walter? Which do you think it is? It's Eileen Galvin from next door, and we've got some bloody fingerprints on the wall.
Oh man.
This is one filthy apartment building. Landlord's gotta get himself a cleaning service.
Party.
Eileen's kind of a looker. She's not bad. She would have made a much better protagonist than Henry Townsend, but she's still not my preferred protagonist. I'll tell you who it is in a few minutes. There's the shoes. They'll play a slightly important role later. My shoes. I don't need to change them right now. You guys like loafers or not? I don't use dress shoes unless I'm going for an interview, but I have these slip-on shoes that I use mainly to go downstairs and get stuff like the mail from outside the door. Go outside next to the garage where the mailbox is. They're pretty comfortable, but I wouldn't use them for long distance walking because it feels like if you step on the wrong thing, you're gonna get like a blade in your soul or something. Or a rock or something sharp. They just do not seem to have any resistance to foreign objects on the street, on the sidewalk, so I'd rather not use them for long periods of time. I tried it a couple times, and even though they feel very light, it feels like you're almost walking like on clouds. That's the problem because the lining is so thin for those slip-on shoes. What ends up happening is that you end up basically feeling like if you take the slightest wrong step, you are going to have something jammed into your foot, and then it has to be a medical emergency. Like I can just imagine a piece of glass jamming in there, and you just do not even notice it, or like a nail or even a needle. It's that type of shoe where the slightest misstep could cause a huge mishap. So I'm not very comfortable wearing them to walk for like long periods of time, like to the grocery store or to go somewhere far. It's only mainly for household use. They're household shoes, pretty much. What's this? I guess the biggest comparison would be like the house slippers they use in Japan, right? Where you only use them inside the house. You take off your shoes, leave them at the front of the door, and then you switch to the slippers. It's the same thing. Like those shoes are, they look nice, they feel soft and comfortable, but they're not very practical for actually walking. You don't want to walk like say 2 or 3 miles in them because you'll get into trouble. Regular shoes are bad enough. You still get stuff in your sneakers, no matter how thick the sole is. Never mind these things. Mom, why doesn't you wake up? Whoever wrote that little letter there needs to learn how to spell. I don't really feel like cooking now. Does he still have gas on there? I don't feel like washing my hands right now. So I think I did do actually what I know I did it. I started a playthrough of this like around 3 or 4 years ago, which I never finished. That was when I first started uploading videos to YouTube. I really didn't know what I was doing. I was trying to copy um, Vash a little bit, Lord Vash, because he's probably the best, but I didn't really know what I was doing at the time, so the videos were kind of rough. I tried this, I tried Metal Gear, I did a Silent Hill 2 playthrough, and none of it came out really good. Some nice commentary, but nothing, the picture was atrocious, but I did this, and I think I actually did it using one of the alternate modes because I wanted you to see all the available weapons and stuff you could get, so I was not starting from scratch then. I was basically trying to cheat the game, because that's what you do in those alternate modes. You kind of cheat it. So, is chocolate milk here? Take the chocolate milk? Yes, we will. Chocolate flavored milk, very sweet. Was in the refrigerator at home. I actually don't like chocolate milk as you buy it from the store. I actually like to buy a hot chocolate and do that. Mainly the Dunkin' version, and only like a few times a year. Because you can't really drink hot chocolate in summer or even fall. It's mainly for winter and early spring. White wine. Take the bottle of white wine? Yes. Bottle of white wine from the refrigerator. It'll break eventually if I keep using it as a weapon. So you can use it as a weapon, but it's only going to last like 2 or 3 hits. Here's the infamous box. This was when they switched to the item box inventory from Resident Evil, which was not a popular move among fans. I remember a lot of fans being angry because they liked the whole infinite storage space they had before. Kind of like the whole cartoon space where you can just store massive amounts of items and nobody even questions it. Like Metal Gear and other games like that. They switched to the item box. I get what they were doing. They were trying to imitate Resident Evil. Although, funny enough, at the time that they switched to the item box, Resident Evil 4 switched to the attaché case inventory. So it's funny, Silent Hill spends 3 games, all those years, from like 1999 to 2003, not doing the Resident Evil system. They finally switched to the Resident Evil system in 2005, and Resident Evil immediately discards that system and goes for something new. That was bad timing on Konami's part. Like the moment they adopt this supposedly better storage system, Resident Evil 4 immediately discards it and moves on to something else. What are the odds? This chest could hold a lot of stuff. Yeah, what are the odds that they would do that? So we're going to store these because we don't need either of them right now. You have one for others, which is items, and you have one for weapons. There you go. Ooh, looks like something crumbled in the bathroom. Hopefully it's not the toilet. What was that? So I was very skeptical when they first announced this was going to be partly a first-person Silent Hill way back in 2004, because I am not a fan of first-person games at all. I've played a few of them and even liked a couple of them. Dead Space, Extraction is one. RoboCop recently, which you saw the playthrough I did on here, that was pretty good. That was damn good, so that was fine. Final Doom was okay. I traded it eventually for Resident Evil 2 on the PS2. I traded that thing in at Game Gallery or Funkoland, one of those. That was okay, but generally not a fan of first-person games. Oh, and Condemned. The first one is good. The second one is garbage, but the first one is good. But I was pleasantly surprised to see how they did it, where basically the room is first person and everything else is third person. I think that's a fine compromise. I liked it. It does give you a certain eerie feeling here. Like you do feel like you are in this actual room with Henry there. It's weird. A few days ago, the power to my TV and my VCR just stopped coming on. Ever since I started having those nightmares. What's the clock? Yep, it's still at 10:05. Oh, it looks like it's 10:07. The clock stopped working a few days ago, so that's when everything went to hell.
And next, we'll be taking a look at the weather. Tonight, we can expect scattered clouds clearing by morning. Tomorrow looks to be quite a nice day with warm and sunny weather continuing through the evening, and the weekend we can expect more of the same. So I hope you all get out there and enjoy your weekend.
This was pretty neat. The radio broadcast about the outside world, showing Henry a bit of what's going on there, what's going on outside that he's missing. I always thought they were pretty neat. The only thing is, I wish they'd done a few more of them. There's only like 6, and I guess that was just to like minimize storage space. You know, you can't have too many unique messages. But I really wish they'd done like 12 or something, because it would have been interesting to see like stuff going on in Silent Hill, and then or like what is Sybil's town, Brahms, and then you had Pleasant River, which is actually important to the story here. So it would have been nice to actually see more of the world. You know what's going on outside. I bought these books with me when I moved in 2 years ago, but I haven't touched them since. Sounds like me. Yeah, it's like a lot of people do that, right? They collect books and then you just stack them here and they don't really read them. We all do that. Looks like a scrap for some book. Man, this thing looks like it was written ages ago. Yeah, it's ancient. Through the ritual of the holy assumption, he built the world. It exists in a space separate from the world of our Lord. More accurately, it is within, yet without the Lord's world. So it's basically a pocket dimension, that's what they're saying. Unlike the world of our Lord, it is a world in extreme flux. Unexpected doors or walls, moving floors, odd creatures, a world only he can control. Anyone swallowed up by that world will live there for eternity, undying. They will haunt that realm as a spirit. How can our Lord forgive such an abomination? This part of the book is too damaged to read. It is important to travel lightly in that world. He who carries too heavy a burden will regret it. The book is too damaged to read anymore. So that's basically telling you, you gotta use the Resident Evil system now. You can only carry limited items. It's usually 8 in Resident Evil, 10 if you get the side pack. Here it's 10, and then everything else you gotta put it right there in that storage case. There's no carrying infinite items anymore. You can look outside here and see your neighbors, which is also a pretty cool feature as well. And you can also see some stuff that's happening outside. So nobody's doing anything too interesting just yet. The sky is pretty clear. Traffic as usual, so nothing too interesting so far. You'll get some more stuff later. The main power is off, so even if I press it, nothing happens. So I actually rented this game from Blockbuster when the very first time I played it, and I actually had a dream about it before I played it. When we first heard that we're going to be ghosts in here, nobody really knew what shape they were going to take. So I actually kind of had a dream that they were more like Fatal Frames' Ghost or other games like that. Like I imagine going outside this apartment and maybe there being like because this is Silent Hill, nothing is normal. So once you got out the apartment, like there being like maybe like a little bridge. This was in my dream, not in the actual game, obviously. But in my dream, I remember playing it and seeing like a little dark bridge over the other world, and then as you go on, the ghosts kind of start to crop up out of the walls, and maybe they would be like a bit incorporeal, like they are in Fatal Frame. And I just imagine them trying to harass you or cause you harm every time you go back and forth between the apartment. And also, for some reason, something that actually turned out to be true, which is insane. Like I actually had this image of like a long winding stair, like in a very dark place, in the game, and the dream that I had about it. And then when I actually played the game and got to like the second half, there actually is a very long, dark, winding stair in a very dark place. So that was I don't know if maybe I just played too many horror games at that point, but that was a hell of a prediction, because there really is a stair like that. And I'm not kidding, like I actually did have that dream. I guess that was how excited I was to play it, because it sounded like it was going to be very different from other Silent Hill games, and boy, it is different. I'll give it that. It is different, but not in a positive way sometimes. There are some flaws here. This is the last save I did. This is when I tried my original playthrough. As you can see, I only got an hour 47 into it. I was in the forest world, which is the second world. So um, we're gonna save here just in case something goes wrong. We're gonna save on this one. Room 302, 23 minutes. Even though it says 37 on my recording, but I guess that doesn't count the cutscenes and the intro. Now, what an intro, right? Like that intro that you see at the beginning, if you leave the menu alone for a few minutes without skipping anything, that intro is probably one of the scariest, most disturbing intros to any horror game, period. It's so memorable. And it's one of the rare occasions in which the intro is actually more scarier than the actual game. That intro makes the game look terrifying. You get inside here in the actual game, you're like, it's not bad. It's more weird than anything. Like if the other Silent Hills were like a trip through hell, this is more like a trip to the Twilight Zone. It's not really scary. It's more like disturbing and unsettling. But yeah, like that game, that intro makes the game look terrifying. Like I always said, if the game had lived up to that intro, it would have been probably the most terrifying game ever made in video game history. Oh, the potential this game had, it just completely bungled the ball. In retrospect, I think that was the beginning of the decline for Konami. Not just the series, but Konami in general. That was when it was starting to go wrong. Because remember, around that time, they'd released Metal Gear Solid 3, which is a masterpiece. So you're thinking, oh, so Konami's pretty great. They got this, they got Castlevania Revivals, they're sitting pretty. And then shortly after this game, that's when it kind of all started to go wrong. Like, it took several years for them to develop the new Metal Gear, which was controversial in its own right. And then Silent Hill kind of started to fall apart. And then other series kind of started to fall apart, like Castlevania. And it was, it took quite a while. It wasn't instant. And it didn't really completely manifest itself until the issues of Metal Gear Solid 5. That was when everything went to shit. But in retrospect, I think this was the beginning of the issues for Konami, not just for the Silent Hill series itself, but also Konami as a video game company in general. This was when it all started to go wrong, folks. This is a photo of the outside of South Ashfield Heights. I was immediately attracted by the outside of the building as well as the view from the window here. When I moved here 2 years ago, I almost felt like I was being drawn here. I suppose you probably were, Henry. Got this photo from Frank Sunderland, the super here at South Ashfield Heights. I remember how excited everyone was when they mentioned Frank here. Sunderland? Oh, we know who that guy is, right? We know who that guy is. No introduction needed. We know the importance of that. We know the significance. It's a photo of me as a kid and then when I graduated from high school. It's funny, he says that, and then later on he says it's not a particularly memorable photo for me, which implies that he does not get along with his parents. It's also got a tissue box here, which considering it's not his bedroom, and considering there's a large TV here, let's be honest, we don't need to speculate. We know what Henry probably needs this tissue box for, don't we? It's subtle, but it's there. A young bachelor guy living alone in an apartment with no wife or girlfriend or anything, has a tissue box conveniently placed next to a sofa that is in front of a big TV there. I don't think I need to spell it out for you people, do you? I think we all know what he needs that tissue box for. And I'm not going to say anything more about it, but we know, right? We know what he needs it for. What kind of tapes are Henry watching in there? We know what tapes he's watching. And it ain't tapes of old exploitation movies like Joe Bob would do. He's watching something else. Other stuff.
What the hell? Somebody in there?
Okay, so there's some slight fear there, but for the most part, this man is not fazed by anything. Like, a mysterious hole just popped
this way.
just showed up in your bathroom. There's a pipe attached to it. Looks like it leads into a passageway. And you're not the slightest bit concerned. Like, he just sounds a little shaken, but other people will be terrified. Isn't it time for that kind of thing? Like, water stopped running. Like, I get the feeling anything could show up out of that hole when Henry would not be phased. Like freaking Apocalypse on the X-Men could come out of this hole, and Henry would just lift an eyebrow and be like, "What the hell?" Like aliens could come out of there. Of course, there's no one in the bathtub. That's gonna change, isn't it? It's gonna change. So bathroom items here, but I don't have the time for that now. One nice detail I found is that even though the messages don't get it very interesting, they do change with each iteration of the room. So that's some nice attention to the detail there from the developers. So the first time I was playing this game on my original playthrough, I was just playing it as is. Like I said, I was just playing it just to play the game and show it off. I didn't really know how much people struggled with it until a few years later, and especially like in the last 2 years, maybe really aware and realize how difficult this game is for many people, even other Silent Hill fans. So that's part of the reason where I'm focusing on a different aspect of this playthrough. Instead of just playing the game, I want to show you how to get around the enemies and obstacles and stuff, because it is very difficult to navigate with the ghost and the way the game is structured, and it can be very, very frustrating. A lot of people say it is one of those games that they prefer to watch rather than play. The sewage pipes are broken too. Pull on the part hanging down. Yes. I kind of hate it when games do that in survival horror games where they ask you a question that's obvious. Of course you want to pull out the pipe. The game won't proceed otherwise. It's one thing if they're trying to trick you, like Silent Hill Homecoming is one of its very few rare good moments. Actually does that, where at the very beginning it asks you, do you want to pull on like this teddy bear? And you answer yes. And yes is actually the wrong it's actually the wrong option, because if you pull on the teddy bear from the mirror too early, a monster arm pretty much comes out, eats your own arm and kills you. It just rips it off and kills you right there. You actually have to wait. So that was one of the very few clever moments in that game where if you pull on the toy teddy bear too early, because you're accustomed to immediately answering yes in every other survival horror game, Resident Evil, Silent Hill, Fatal Frame, etc. If you pull on that teddy bear too early, you die. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. You die. Like that, a monster just rips your whole arm off and you bleed to death. So that's one of the very few clever moments in that game. Nice subversion of the trope where, again, I hate when they ask you like, oh, do you want to pick up this gun? Yes, because how else are you gonna fight? Oh, do you want to put this puzzle piece in there? Yes, because the door's not going to open. Do you want Ashley to climb over this fence? Yes, because she's not going to get the treasure otherwise. Like, why are you asking me to do stuff that's obvious? It's obviously necessary for the game to proceed. That's a waste of time. Just do it. 3-foot long sewer pipe. Not very powerful, but fairly easy to use. I'll take it. I normally hate the pipe in Silent Hill games. I hate it. I prefer the katana or the emergency hammer from part 1, or the katana from part 3, but beggars can't be choosers. That's all we have here for now. We need the pipe. It's gonna crawl in there. So the first time you crawl in here, you have to go slowly, but then it's kind of like a vortex or a vacuum. I assume it's both gameplay wise and story wise. Like I assume the first this is symbolic. I'm not getting too deep into the story yet, but this is basically like symbolizing coming out of the womb. It's like an umbilical, it's like, yeah, it's basically like coming out of a womb, being born into the world. I assume it's also story-wise giving Henry like time to adjust to this experience, and then later on it just sucks him in like a vacuum cleaner. You just instantly go barreling back to your apartment like you're riding the freaking Rainbow Bridge from 4, the Bifrost. That's what it sounds like. It's like a vortex just sucking you back. Because obviously, it's one thing crawling forward or crawling down, but imagine if you're like on a lower place later on. Like there's no way Henry can actually crawl back up to his apartment. So later on, it does function more like a vortex than a passageway. This was also some of the first use I saw in a horror game of like VHS type footage. Like you see here, it's very reminiscent of like an old VHS style video, which again Resident Evil 7 would use to great effect later on. Resident Evil 7 made masterful use of VHS tapes, and then Tormented Souls actually used them decently too. I've been playing that game recently over and over, trying to platinum it. I've only got 2 trophies left, but tonight was not the right day to do them. I like to do them at certain times and certain dates, and I want to make sure I have enough time frame to do that. Like, the last trophies left pretty much required me to play the game non-stop from beginning to end, and I did not have the time tonight, so we're gonna wait until tomorrow to do that. I thought about recording it, but it might take like 3.5 hours, so I probably should not record because that's gonna be one hell of a long video, and people don't like longer videos over an hour and a half or more, so try as I might, I probably don't want to record that one. Look at this escalator. God, I'd ride that escalator easily. We need escalators like that. I'd love to see a huge escalator like that in real life. All the ones we have at our one remaining mall over here are small. It has 3 levels, but they're all small, so.
What the hell?
Interesting fact about this game. If you take a shot of alcohol every time Henry says what the hell, and you play through the entire game, you'll be dead. They'll be carrying you out of in an ambulance on a gurney or stretcher after this. You'll be dead. You'll be dead from alcohol poisoning. Now, if you picked one of the alternate modes that you get after you play the game once or twice, I forget which, but if you picked one here, normally there would be 2 options here. One, you'd have all the weapons laid out in the game, like 12 or 13 plus weapons. They would all be laid out here, and you can collect them all, take them back to your apartment, and store them there, and then you can get whichever weapon you want. Or you could get the one weapon mode, which is like you pick your one weapon from the pile here. All of them immediately disappear, and if you pick wrongly, you're stuck with that weapon for the end of the game. So that's when you definitely want to pick like the axe. You don't want the handgun, you want the axe, which you'll get later on. Because if you pick like imagine if you pick the paper cutter or the weaker bat, not even the aluminum bat, if you pick the weaker bat, you are fucked. You are not completing the game no matter what. It literally becomes impossible to beat. So it's kind of like a little trap for newbie players who might play the game once and think, oh, I mastered it, I'm gonna try the difficult mode, I'm gonna pick the weakest weapon possible. You know, I'm gonna do an all knife run here like we do in Resident Evil, and the game very quickly lets you know that, you know, a kid, this is not Resident Evil. A knife won't get you nowhere here. It's pathetic. So yeah, you literally cannot beat the game if you pick the box cutter and try to go with it. It's just impossible to beat. You're gonna be fighting the final boss of the game. You're gonna be fighting him for like 50 minutes straight with the box cutter, trying to beat him with that puny little weapon. So those are the 2 alternate modes you have. You have every weapon mode, or all weapon mode, I think, and you have one weapon mode, and it's up to you. And if you want to make the game fun, you pick all weapon mode, and the game actually becomes pretty fun to play at that point. Once you have the variety of every single weapon, you have everything in your inventory, it actually becomes pretty fun to play at times. It's still not great. It still doesn't compare to Silent Hill 3, but it does become a whole lot more manageable and better. And here I'm going to introduce you to the person I think should have been the protagonist of the game, and it's this little lady right here. But before we go over here, let's go check out this door. Gotta get used to the controls bit, because like I said, I was trying to arrange them for the PC version, and because I have to use PS4 controller with a USB cord attached to it, and then I gotta use this software that lets you like use console controllers on PC games, and I gotta I forget what it's called. It's like DX something input or DO input, I forget which, but since you gotta change the buttons there, map them to the controls, it's a whole mess, and then it doesn't work properly for Silent Hill 4. It worked properly for 3, it worked properly for 2, it does not work for 4, so gotta get used to it. The door is locked from the other side. That means we're gonna be coming back here eventually. This one's shut tight, it won't open at all. One thing I hope the Silent Hill 2 remake has, it's about 2 months away, I hope that it has most of the doors open. You know, since you're using a PS5, take advantage of the PS5 and Xbox and PC capabilities, I guess, and give us a world where you can open almost every door. Like, you're not gonna be able to open almost every single door. You know, if there's like 100 buildings in the games, obviously you're not gonna be able to open all 100, but give us like 80 or 70. Let us really explore the town, you know. It'll make up for the fact that we already know the story from beginning to end. And they said it. They said there will be new areas, new stretches of gameplay. There will not be new stories. So the story is basically the same. Like the cutscenes will have like a different perspective on them. It'll look different. The characters look different. But they've already told us there's no new stories. So like in light of the fact that there's no new story, I think they should make it up to us by giving us brand new areas to explore and unlock. You know, not just the typical buildings we come to expect. Give us something new. Because like I said, we're already at a disadvantage because we already know the story from beginning to end. And unlike Resident Evil 1 Remake, it's a pretty significant story, so like you need something to make up for that, because even if they do it perfectly, I know people are already shitting on them basically and calling them phonies and saying, oh, it's gonna suck. Like, I don't care about that crap, but even if they do it perfectly and all the voice acting is great and everything's great, we know exactly everything that's going to happen from beginning to end. We literally know 100% of the story before we even touch the game, so I just think you need something to make up for that, and great new areas that are explorable and hide different items and enemies it will go a long way towards that. But anyway, I'm talking too much, so let's check this
Who
out.
are you? What's your name?
I like her shirt. It's a nice
Henry.
blouse.
And you?
This is my dream, and you don't even know my name. It's Cynthia.
Your dream.
That's right. This is just a dream. And a really terrible one, too. I hope I wake up soon.
So you think this is a dream, huh?
Well, if it's not a dream, what is it? Anyway, I want to get out of here, but I can't find the exit. Say, will you help me find it? I'm kind of scared all alone. I'll do a special favor for you later. It's just a dream, so I might as well have some fun.
That's a nice skirt, too. Oh, that was a tiny bit of emotion there. Just a tiny bit. You can see Henry was almost laughing at that one, so he is human after all. He shows one bit of strong emotion in the entire game. That's it. Well, that one and then a moment at the hospital later on, but basically that's it. He's got two spots where he shows a bit of actual emotion. That's one of them. He was almost laughing there. He didn't want to show it, but he did. That's why he turned away, so that she wouldn't see it. Have you known anybody who actually dresses like that in real life, with the thin blouse with like the bra visible? I mean, it's a nice blouse, and the bra's rendered in surprisingly good detail too for a PS2 game. But have you known anyone who actually dresses like that in real life? I always found it interesting. Now you're wondering, why would I think Cynthia definitely should have been the protagonist of the game? Well, I definitely think she should have been the protagonist of the game because, one, imagine the gang having a feisty Latina protagonist. I mean, feisty Latina characters as protagonists. Like, I love feisty Latinas in fiction. I'm a Latino man myself, so obviously I would like that, but she has character, she has personality to her. Even if people call her, I don't even know if I should say this or you two might get me. I'm not gonna say it. It's the S word that they use for women, right? I'm not even gonna say it, but the S word that they use to for women who are very promiscuous, shall we say? They use that word a lot with Cynthia, and I really don't see it. Like, it's like she thinks this is a dream, so why wouldn't she be acting this way? You know, might as well have fun with it. But also because it would have countered the whole bland white man that Henry has. Like, it's funny, they did a white man. They did a white guy with Silent Hill 1, obviously. Harry Mason, the caring father. And that he was fine. It was okay. Like, his character showed a bit of a vile side to him in Silent Hill 3, but he was overall fine for the first game. Good intro character. Ryder looks a bit like Ash from the first Evil Dead. The first one, not any of the others. Just his clothing style and all that. But he was okay, a decent father. Then you got James too, where he was the complicated white man protagonist, the one who actually has some depths to him. So you had him, and he was obviously beloved by the fandom. And then you had Heather, who is basically, in my opinion, probably the greatest protagonist in the whole series. People love Heather. A few of them hate her, but I always liked her. People love how sassy she is, and then how she develops over time, and then how heroic or vulnerable she becomes, depending on the circumstance and the situation. So people loved Heather. And then why, after 3 games of having 2 good protagonists and 1 great one, why would you go back and have the most the blandest, boring white man you can possibly imagine? Like, come on, man. Capcom, I mean, not Capcom, I mean Konami. Like, I know, like, you Japanese guys like to tone down stuff from the West so that we don't, we don't appreciate stuff that's too, I don't want to say weird, but out of the norm. I know you like to tone stuff down for us, but come on, like, you were on a roll with Heather. You had a great female protagonist. Give us another one, And it sucks because I guess Cynthia's place in this story, she does have an important role, as you'll see later on. It is central to the lore of the game, but it's just like, she's so vibrant and full of life compared to Henry, who's just the blandest piece of bland toast without butter or cheese or anything on it. Like, he just sucks. And then he doesn't compare to Heather or Harry or James. Even Harry has more life to him than Henry does, and it's just so disappointing. And then it doesn't help that later on as the series went on, the Western developers would give us nothing but white guys. So we literally ended up with like 8 white guys and 1 single female protagonist. Like, well, aside from Maria, but she doesn't really count because hers was a side story. So yeah, like, we had like 9 games, and we only played as a woman once. As a central character, we only played as a woman once, and then all the other 8 were white guys. And of those white guys, like, 3 of them outright sucked. Like, it was like, come on, man. Like, give us a black guy. Give us another woman. Just give us. How about an Asian protagonist? Just give us something different from the norm. Like, so yeah, Henry was just a huge step back from what they had done before, in my opinion. Just a huge step back. And like I said, I think I see what they were trying to do. Oh, let's make him bland, as bland as possible, so you can identify with the situation, not him. Pretend it's you in the game. But here's the thing: I don't want it to be me in the game. It's like Metal Gear. You don't play Metal Gear to pretend you're at Shadow Moses. You play Metal Gear to see Snake at Shadow Moses. And you play Resident Evil to see Jill at the Spencer Mansion or in Raccoon City. And you play it to see Chris at Spencer Mansion or Raccoon City. Like, there are some people who are like that. The people who are complaining, oh, you can't give Isaac voice acting in Dead Space because, oh, it's not going to be the same. We can't imagine it's us anymore. It's like, dudes, it's not supposed to be you. It's supposed to be Isaac Clarke in the freaking ship, not you. So it's like, he needs voice acting. He needs life to him. And that's the same thing here. Like, Henry is literally my least favorite of the entire Silent Hill protagonist. Like, even freaking Murphy from Downpour, as mixed as that game is, and I've only played like a quarter of it, like, even he's still better than Henry. And he sucks. So it's like, Henry's literally the worst of all the possible Silent Hill protagonists. I just don't like him. Like, look at that, even his shirt is bland. It's just a bland, like the bland white dress shirt that hasn't been ironed in like 2 weeks. Or at least 8 weeks, so. Whatever, that's my little rant on Henry. Sorry for that, but it's just, it annoys the shit out of me how bland he is. That's why even though I write Silent Hill fics from time to time, I never use them. I'll use Harry, I'll use James, Maria, Eileen, Cynthia, etc. I do not use this piece of crap, Henry. He's persona non grata in my fics. I've only got like 2 in which I plan to use them, and they're very short.
I think I'm gonna puke.
And he's only a minor side character. Henry, maybe you should go in there after her. I mean, she's not like she's going to do any other business. She's just growing up in there. Maybe you might want to go in there, make sure there's not a monster in there, Just a thought. Like, why are you waiting? Look at that. says toilet. That's something apparently some foreign countries don't understand why Americans label the public bathrooms restrooms, because in their language, restroom is like, you know, somewhere where you would go to rest, or like a powder room. There's that 70s sound effect again. That's the only bad thing about the soundtracks here. The sound effects are not that great. They literally come like one IGN review said. And I normally don't trust IGN reviews, but they were completely accurate in this. It sounds like a 70s Halloween sound effects collection. Like that type of audio track that you would that's what it sounds like the sound effects you would get in a whole cassette tape for Halloween, sound effects that you would have at a party. Okay, how do we select the weapons again? There we go. Okay, so the way you want to fight this guy is you want to wind up. There you go. You do not want to swing at these guys. Ooh, you got me. There you go. One thing. Oh, come on, you son of a bitch. There you go. Stomp on him. You want to use the square button to dodge. That's how you avoid some of the damage. Also, one secret to, well, not really a secret, but one tactic to avoiding a lot of damage is that when you're, like I said, when you're charging up, if you use the motion here, they can't harm you as long as you're doing the power strikes. So as long as you're doing the charged up attack, they cannot do damage to you at all. So they can fly right past you, they can try to bite you, they will not damage you. And two, you want to dodge. It's very important. Like say, this weapon sucks. It's literally the weakest. It's literally the weakest melee weapon in the game, next to the box cutter. But you don't want to take a lot of regular strikes like that, unless you have them pinned up against the wall. Like say if I had pinned them up here, or if I had pinned them up against like the pipe here, then you can do it. But when you're trying to outmaneuver them, no, you want to use the hop. In Silent Hill 3 it was the block. It was absolutely important to block the enemy attacks. Here you want to avoid them. You can hear there's more of them, so when we cross over there's gonna be more. So you want to use that. And you want to try to get as many of those power shots as you can. Like I said, try to dodge around them and then just hit them. Because this weapon sucks, but you are going to get better weapons later on. If you try to fight these guys the way you normally would with melee weapons in Silent Hill 2 or 3, you're going to get... You're going to get crushed. You're going to get fucked up. And like I said, one of my favorite streamers, I saw them making that mistake, and I understand why, because I'm so used to the way melee weapons work in the other Silent Hill games, but you cannot do that here. You have to fight by the rules of this game. A lot of people are wondering when this game came out how I was going to change the gameplay. It doesn't change it that much, unfortunately, which I think is why, I think is the reason why it got a less positive reception than Resident Evil 4, among other things. But yeah, you have to play by the rules here, so you have to dodge like that whenever you see them strike, and it might take you a while to kill them, but that's okay. Just dodge and then get in the charged shots like this when you can, and then if you can just withstand that for like 2 or 3 areas, you will get the bat, which is much better, and then you'll get the axe, which is the ultimate melee weapon. The axe kicks ass here. It kicks axe. So you want to just hold out until you can get those weapons. And like I said, if you've already beaten the game once and you want to play it for fun, then what you do is you select all weapon mode and you can get all the weapons. Or if you want to make it a little more challenging, you select one weapon mode and then you get the axe. And the axe is the best weapon in the game by far. See, there's a coin there. There's a hole. We're not going to go through there just yet. Want to check out the other bathroom? Got a men's room. Sometimes you hear the coins jangling here inside the stalls. Those are some dirty urinals. Look at that. Looks like urinals you might find in Resident Evil 4 and that one Ganado's house. Or is it the chief's house? I'm not sure, but he only had a urinal, no toilet, which no idea how that works, but it is. So we're gonna go into the hole. Oh, I missed his little message there. Said who said it? What did he say? It said who entered this crazy hole or another of these crazy holes. What did he say? Something like that. See, now it's like a vacuum. He's just getting sucked up like a dust bunny into a Hoover, or like a piece of gum or something. Now we're waking up in our apartment. I remember when the game came out, people were speculating, how's it going to be? Like, are we really traversing people's dreams? Like, is this really happening? Like, we're going to be going from one dream to another? And that would have been a cool feature for the story, but no, that is not what is going on.
Another dream.
See, even Henry says it.
But it seems so real. Or could it be? Was I really inside that woman's dream? Oh, that's just stupid. What am I thinking?
So it is silly, but not for the reasons you think, Henry. So yeah, this is actually happening. He's not inside a dream, but there is something else going on here. But that would have been an interesting concept, right, for a Silent Hill game, or even just a regular survival horror game. If you were going from dream to dream, that actually would have been pretty interesting. But no, that's not the case. That is not the case, unfortunately. What you're going through is something else entirely. Also, like the little menu, you can stretch out that ghost in the corner. No one outside. You'll want to check that door from time to time because you will get new stuff there. Let's see what's out the window. Nope, nothing new just yet. Also, you only get a new radio message every time you come back from a world the first time, so we got one when we first woke up in the game. Obviously, that's the one to start, and then you see you get nothing but static. So you won't get one until you finish the Subway World. So there's no point in even checking because you're not going to get a new one. Oh, the drawer's been moved. Furniture has been here since I moved in. Huh? That's weird. Also, it's kind of creepy that he left that there and he doesn't even know what the other guy was doing with it. That's weird. Somebody moved it. Straighten it. See, that's the stuff that I mean, obviously. Like, obviously you have to straighten it or else you can't proceed with the game. Like, why would they make that optional? Just straighten the damn thing. Don't waste a few seconds of our time. You have to do it. Like I said, it's like Resident Evil 4. Like, do you want to... Like I said, do you want Ashley to... It's like asking, do you want Ashley to climb over the fence? Yes, because obviously she can't get the treasure behind it if she doesn't. Like, it's... Why make the player waste time on stuff like that that's obvious that you have to do to proceed with the game? Makes no sense. Who could have done it? That would be creepy though, right? If someone was breaking into your apartment while you were somewhere else and you had no idea how they were doing it, and then they're gone and they leave no trace, that would be creepy as hell. There's a pistol on the floor. Will you take the pistol? Yes. See, look at that. You have to take the pistol or else you can't fight back, so... Easy to use handgun, but not much stopping power. Henry's also old-fashioned. He doesn't even call it a gun. It's a pistol. There's a message carved in here. It looks like they used an ice pick or something. The faint hope I had has slowly changed to despair. I've somehow managed to tunnel this far, but no matter what I do, I can't get any farther. The hallway, the windows, the walls... It feels like this room is stuck in another dimension. Ah. How does that sound familiar? Like, where have we heard that before? In Silent Hill. Eileen never noticed. I think some people might miss that at first time, that you actually look there. Especially on HD TVs where it's all blurry. Like, it's pretty obvious in a CRT, but in the HD TV, yeah, I can see how people might miss that you actually have to look through that little hole there, because it looks like just another crack in the wall. There's nothing distinguishing it. There's no distinguishing marks or anything. You just have to look. Like he said, Eileen never noticed, so that's a hint. That's a hint for you to look through the hole and see what she's doing.
Where did I put that damn broom?
Also notice the angle. We can't look up her skirt. Oh, we saw a little bit there. Looks like she had white briefs on. Look at our old friend Robbie the Rabbit. And I assume that's the dress, one of the dresses she was going to wear for the party right there. One of her choices. There's Robbie the Rabbit. There's so much merchandise for him. I get tired of it. There's merchandise for him and Pyramid Head. I wish we get others. Like, come on, man. Give us some Lisa merchandise. And not for pervy uses. I mean, give us just regular Lisa merchandise, man. Give us a little statue of Alyssa and her monsters. Like, goddamn. Even give us Harry, like, just... Or Sybil, or... I guess James gets a couple, but... Yeah, by and large, like... Robbie and Pyramid Head get the most options for merchandise of any Silent Hill characters or monsters, and it just gets annoying sometimes. And my freaking username is Pyramid Head pretty much on everything I use. Not just game stuff, but even wagering, like it's always Pyramid Head. But I can only take so much of the big guy before I'm like, you know what, I want to see a Lisa statue. Or I want to see a statue of like the slasher turtle guys from Silent Hill 1, the hang scratchers. Those would be some cool monster statues. Like, give me something that's not freaking Robbie the Rabbit or Pyramid Head. Give me Sybil on her bike, you know? Give me Harry with a pipe or a gun fighting like a gray child. You give me something that's not just Pyramid Head and Robbie over and over again. Come on, man. The world's bigger than that.
Where did you go? Hurry! Save me! If you need a token, there's one here.
Alright, I'm coming, Cynthia. I'm on my way. Oh, I didn't examine the church, right? This is a photo of the church I ran across while I was visiting Silent Hill. For some reason, I was really attracted by the way it looked, so I took the picture. That's Balkan Church, if I'm not mistaken, right? Or is that the Orders Church? I always thought it was Balkan Church, but it might be the Orders Church. Oh yeah, you also want to go check the door peephole, like I said, from time to time, when you hear something outside. That's usually a clue that alerts you to check it. Although sometimes you want to check it at random, whether you hear a noise or not. Eileen's a nice tenant. Not many people would sweep outside their apartment building not having to do it. You know, it's not mandatory. The landlord's not asking her or anything. She's just sweeping the hallway just to keep it clean. That's actually a pretty nice tenant there. That's the type of tenant that you want in an apartment building, but not one that we usually get. Let's go save before we do anything else. I always like how this sounds like a scream. It says 53 minutes, but over here it says an hour 15, so it's not counting the intro or the cutscenes. Enter the hole? Yes. We're going into the hole. Boy, I should have started recording earlier too, like at 2 a.m. like I usually do, but it took me a while to figure out how to connect everything on the PS2 again to make sure it was rendering properly. Some kind of mannequin. It's got a coin in its hand. You take the coin, obviously. We got the Lynch Street Line coin. That's obviously a reference to David Lynch. And I believe it was also, was there a Lynch Street Line in Jacob's Ladder or not? I know one of the subway lines in Silent Hill 3 is the exact same one from Jacob's Ladder. It's not the St. Renata College. It's the Bergen Street. Never mind. So it's the Bergen Street train. Okay, so Lynch. This is just purely a reference to David Lynch, which makes all sorts of sense considering how bizarre this game is. This game is strange compared even to other Silent Hill games. So it totally makes sense that they would include a reference towards the Master of Strange here. You know, like if Stephen King is the Master of Horror, David Lynch is the Master of Strange. Everything he does turns out strange. Everything. Commercials, movies, TV shows. student projects, the man can't help himself. You know, cologne commercials, they were strange too. See, that this is what I was talking about, merchandise. Imagine how cool a statue of this would be. Look at that. That would make a great statue. That looks morbid and great. But again, we don't get this type of stuff. All we get is just freaking Pyramid Head over and over again and Robbie the Rabbit. It's like there's more to the freaking game world than that. You know, give us something new. Got more dogs. These are like hyena dogs. So. Yeah, you take that. You take that. Stick dog. Yeah, take that. Oh, he's dead. That one only took 2 hits. Yeah, that's another thing. Another thing that bothers me. Some of the enemy variations. Yeah, let's stop and begin just to make sure. Some of that damage variation among enemies is kind of off, even among the same type of enemies. Like you saw earlier, that one dog in the previous section took like 3 or 4 hits to take down. This one only took 2, so like the health is all over the place for them. Some kind of a station guide, but the text is all blurry. It's totally useless. That's actually a pretty important but subtle hint about how this world was designed. You'll talk about it later, but this is a once you find out who is responsible for designing this world, it totally makes sense that they would not be able to read and the text would be all blurry, because that's what they would have seen in the quote-unquote real world or physical world. That's for the Lynch Street line. We're not going to use this just yet. Where's the other dog? I want to take him out. Is there another one? I guess there isn't. I thought it was 2, but I guess it's only 1. Okay, so it is only just 1 dog. It's fair enough. So let's just keep going on our way. There's also that poster there, Habek's Business Daily. That's actually a poster that you see a lot in the subway station in Silent Hill 3, so that's a nice callback. Let's go over here. The camera is still kind of wonky. Look at this shit. They can get away from you pretty easily. Here's some more dogs. Looks like they're just resting right now. This is the infamous worm from the game that I'll go into a bit more into later on, because that worm actually played a part in one of the craziest Silent Hill theories I've ever seen and anybody else has ever seen on the internet. What the hell, Henry? What are you doing? I almost feel bad hitting them because they're not really... Henry, what are you doing? They're not really attacking us, they just mind their own business. So I kind of feel bad hitting them. He's dead. See, when you're gonna do that, you have to corner them. Oh, this one doesn't even know where it's going. Yeah, and if you circle around him like that, you can kind of take him off, catch him off guard. Oh, I wonder if it's because they become alert. Like maybe it's I've never looked too deep into it, but maybe it's a case where if you catch them off guard, it only takes 2 hits with the powered up charge. But if they become alert, then it starts to take more. Like maybe they kind of, it's almost like they have adrenaline now, and they can take 1 or 2 extra hits. You can also beat this thing up, but it's not going to do any good. It's fun to do, but it's not going to get you anywhere. You're going to see that thing a lot appearing in multiple worlds in the game. You want to check this here because you want as many pistol bullets as you can get. You have to save them later on. I recommend using the pipe as much as you can, but there are going to be some enemies here where you have to use the gun. And I'm going to show you because I've seen streamers try to tackle those guys using solely the pipe like this, and that's not going to work for the enemies. You'll know when you see it. Also, later on in the second half of the game, when you come back here, you definitely want to come back here because you're going to pick up a very valuable resource right here. Something that you absolutely need. You're going to pick it up and you don't want to go without it. So when you come back to the station later on, spoilers, you do want to come back to this section and check out that stairway there because there is a very valuable, very critically important resource that you have to get right there. So you want to come back to this. What have you all been doing? Oh boy, been betting on the PGA Golf Tour playoffs. It sucks because I had quite a nice run streak there where I made some money off of Jonathan Vegas at the, I forgot which tournament it was, but I made some off of him at his tournament a few weeks ago, and then I won some off of Lydia Ko at the Olympics, and I won some money from another guy too, and we were on a pretty nice run, and then it just all came to a crash, and now last week was freaking disastrous. Like, I actually lost money. If not for another win that I had unexpectedly from something completely unrelated, I would have lost literally like around $110 from that tournament. That tournament just went to shit. The BMW Championship, oh my god, that was awful. That was literally one of the worst golf tournaments I've seen in the entire year. And I only saw like 3 hours of it on Sunday. I only saw like the last 3 hours of the tournament. Even on the day that's supposed to be like the second most exciting day. Because Saturday is moving day. That's what they call the day when everybody makes their big move. Moving day. That's the most exciting, but that sucked based on the scores that I saw on. I didn't even watch it. And then I watched it for 3 hours on Saturday, and oh my god, that was some of the worst golf I've ever seen the whole year. It was hideous. It was awful. Like, my god. This is something also people get confused on really quick. They think you have to use it at the little machine. No, you can actually use it at the fence here, the turnstile. You don't need to use it at the actual. There we go. See, you don't have to use it at the actual machine. And I saw, like I said, I've seen a couple streamers get confused by that. Why does it say? Why does it give you the description at the machine, but then it doesn't take the token there? Well, that's just the way it's designed. That's the way it's programmed. But yeah, when you want to use that token, just use it at the door, at the turnstile. You don't actually have to use it at the machine. You know that's why. So one streamer gets stuck there, and it makes perfect sense. Like, if it's giving you the message there, why can't you use it there? But that's the way this game is designed. It's quirky, or rough if you prefer. You know, it's quirky rough. So yeah, just use the token right at the door. And later on, when you get a subway pass, much later on, again, just use it right at the door. Don't bother trying to use it at the machine. It's not going to work. Okay, so we're going to go down here and meet our first of the new enemies, and the enemy that people find the most annoying in the entire game. I'm going to meet him. So yeah, golf has been a mess, and I also missed out on a couple of great opportunities at the Olympics. Like, I should have nabbed Scotty Scheffler when he was like 16 or 18 to 1 on the last round. Like, that was a bargain on the last round. He was only a few shots behind. Didn't do it. And I also missed some track and field bets that were pretty easily. Could have gotten me a lot of money. So yeah, it's not being a good past few weeks financially. Except for a couple of rare breaks. Like, I got a few lottery numbers that actually won a few hundred. But other than that, it's been kind of dead as far as wins. Oh, here they come. Here come the ghosties. Word to the wise, do not engage with these. Do not engage. Ignore them. You need a medallion to harm them. And even if you didn't have a medallion, that pipe won't do shit. Do not engage under any circumstances those things. Leave them be. Just leave them alone. Strange vending machine. It says 1-8 on it. It looks like an 8, so it's an 8. That door is locked. I'm gonna mark it just to have it marked on the map. This is also another area where streamers get confused. They think you have to find the exact perfect door to go back. No, there's actually a quick shortcut you can take. The ghosts are coming, by the way. As soon as you release her, the ghosts are gonna come this way. So, you see this door that's locked here? You want to unlock that. Otherwise, you're gonna be going back and forth in a very difficult manner. That gives you a much easier route to go back and forth. It looks like the car door's open. Let's go. Let's go, Cynthia. Let's get the hell out of here. See, here they come. Here comes the old lady ghost. You can just ignore her. She's completely weak. She barely does any damage. The guys are much more dangerous. Obviously, they're stronger, but even in terms of the ghost power, they're actually much more dangerous. Ooh. There's a fat... I was going to say there's a fat toy box here. No, there's a toy box here. It says 1008 written on it. Nah, Eddie would be the one who has like a fat toy box. It's locked and I can't open it. So people get lost in here. I've seen a couple streamers get lost in here. Yeah, it is disorienting the way they did the map here. Like, this map sucks compared to Silent Hill 3's map. I get the point that they're making is hand-drawn. Henry is making this up as he goes along, but it is a pretty crappy map. You know, no pun intended, because everything looks like crap here, but it is a pretty crappy map. You do not want to mess with this thing too much. It's not that big of a help. What you want to do is you want to find the door to the left there. You see the left train carriage? You want to find that door. Back off, old lady. Oh, reaching to grab his heart. Jesus. Cynthia, where are you? I think I preferred Silent Hill 3's subway. It was short but sweet. You know, it was perfect section. Didn't overstay its welcome. This subway is kind of crap. Although, interesting story, I actually have seen a subway like this. Obviously not as grimy, obviously, but I have seen one, and it was years ago when I was at community college, and I was late one night. I was waiting for the train at Broad Street at 30th and... Was it 30th or was it 34th? I forget which, but I was... No, it was 30th and Broad Street. Okay, I was waiting for the train there. The Broad Street line. No trains were coming. It was deserted. I was literally the only one on the platform. The only guy on the platform, period. There was just like the attendant upstairs. And I see this train coming. And this train comes and this thing looks straight out of hell. It's all dirty. It's deserted. I didn't even get a glimpse of like a conductor or anything. There's no one inside. It literally looks like one of these busted ass trains from this thing. And even though this is real life, even though it's real life, at that moment, I looked at that train and I'm thinking, did I just slide into Silent Hill? Like, am I in some sort of a fucking dimension? Because you've heard accounts of that. You know, people were... All throughout history, people have reported strange accounts that you suddenly find yourself in one other place and everything's completely different and there's something spooky or negative about it, and people will dismiss it a lot of times, but sometimes there aren't any drugs or alcohol or any stuff involved. It's just stuff that happens randomly in your everyday life. And so imagine me, I'm late at night. It's almost close to like 9 o'clock or something like that, and I see there's nobody else on the platform, nobody on the other platform across from me. There's no one at all in the station besides me and like the attendant upstairs. And I see this freaking hellish train come out and just keep on going. And it looks like there's nobody inside. Like, what am I supposed to think? It's like you suddenly slid into another alternate dimension. But apparently what the deal was that's a cleaning train. So that's what they use to clean the tracks and I guess the other trains and stuff during service hours. So what ends up happening is obviously they don't maintain that train. So that's why the paint is all peeling and it's all rusted and grimy and probably moldy and all that stuff, because it's a cleaning train. It's not meant to be used for public service. But the end result, that basically looks nightmarish. Like it's like something straight out of a nightmare. It's ghastly. So I saw that and I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck did we just get into? What is this shit? So... Alright, we made it. Gotta find the other door. Is it this one? Nope. It's the other one. Let's go, Cynthia. Move. Oh, let's get the ammo up here. Let's ignore Baldy over there. That ghost's name is Jimmy Stone, and he's actually a pretty prominent figure in the lore of the game and the series at large, in the lore of Silent Hill. But we'll learn more about him later on. Alright, we got 30 bullets. I'm gonna try to preserve them as much as possible. bag lady. Just ignore her. Her name is Sharon, and I don't think I remember her other name. It's not Sharon Rose. Rose is the lady from Silent Hill movie, and Sharon's her daughter. But it is, I think her name is Sharon something. She was a victim of the Order. That's all I'm gonna say for now. There's the hole with its reincarnation markings from Silent Hill 3. The Halo of the Sun. That's what that's what that thing is called, right? The Halo of the Sun. So you notice there, Cynthia cannot go through there. Now, this is one thing I've seen some streamers ignore. You must open this door over here, because if you don't, it's gonna become hellish to cross between the subway lines with the ghost pursuing you. You have to open that door, period, and you'll need it later on well, but I might as well give it away. Well, at one point you will be escorting Eileen through some of these sections, so you will need to open this door. And see? There you go. You came out on the other side. It's much easier to traverse the subway line now than it is before. You know? It's much, much easier to do so like that. So now we're gonna go back down. Gonna go back to the room and check up some things. You want to visit the room as much as possible during your first playthrough. On subsequent playthroughs you can ignore it, but you want to visit it as much as possible the first time, because you're gonna see some stuff that you might otherwise miss. You know, if you don't go there, you might otherwise miss this stuff. So you want to make sure you visit the room as much as possible. Okay, Harry, that's enough. This is wake up. Also, it recovers your health too. So if you've been attacked and you've taken a couple hits like we did, that'll heal you. That'll heal you up nice and right. So make sure you visit the room as often as possible while you can. Obviously, that's a hidden for later on. Oh yeah, we're gonna store some of the bullets there. We don't need them all, so we're gonna store some and start building our own weapons cache right there. There you go. You only need to store like 20 for now. You don't need more than 10 bullets for the next section. I just like to have extras just in case. Nothing in the sky so far. So I usually like to do I'd like to do one world per video, but the problem is it is 4:02 a.m. over here. Like I said, I started late. I should have started much earlier, and we still got a pretty lengthy section of the subway to go. Like we've got a whole section down there next where we have to fight a whole bunch of dogs and some ghosts. Then we have a long escalator section again. Then we also have another visit to the hole. And then we have a news report, and then we have a cutscene, and all in all, it's going to take like 25 minutes more to get past that section, so I don't want to push it so far. Plus, we're at an hour 36 minutes so far, so like I said, people don't like videos longer than 1.5 hours or an hour 45 minutes. That's when it tends to get long, so we're just going to save right here. And I think this is where we're going to call it. This would be a good place to stop. Like I said, I kind of wanted to do the whole subway world first to have it all in one video, but the problem is like it's going to be at least 2 hours long in that case, because like I said, we still got a long way to go. We got the next section. We got to fight all those dogs, avoid the ghost, and also we got to gather a couple resources down there: health, drinks, ammo, golf club that we don't need, but it counts towards the item. It counts towards the game's item count and the rankings at the end. So we have that, and then we have a long escalator section. We gotta take care of that. Then, like I said, we have another hallway of enemies. We have cutscene. Then we have another cutscene, and then we have it's just a whole bunch of stuff. It's gonna take like 27 minutes more, 25 minutes. So it'll be like easily over 2 hours, and like I said, I actually have other stuff to do. I kind of wanted to finish checking out the audio commentary I've been listening to for Horror Express, the old Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing movie, which I highly recommend. By the way, that movie is probably one of the top one of the top 10 favorite old movies I've seen, like from the 60s and 70s. That when it comes to classic movies, and I mean that classic in the regular sense, like the movies are, from the classic time period in filmmaking, the 60s, the 70s. That's definitely one of my top 10 favorite movies by far. It's awesome. So I want to finish checking out the audio commentary for that. Then we also have the audio commentary. Well, not audio, but we have the commentary from Gatorbait that I've been rewatching the Last Driving Christmas specials because they're really good, and I want to get back to checking that out again. So we've got other stuff to do. Plus, I also still have to get back to uploading some Bloodborne videos later on. So yeah, I figure this is a good stopping point. We can pick it up later. I guess it's gonna bug me the fact that we didn't do the whole world on one video, but like I said, I should have started earlier, much earlier than I did, because in my defense, like I said, I didn't realize that I wasn't gonna be playing Tormented Souls. I thought I was gonna be finishing up Tormented Souls and getting the platinum for that, and then I quickly realized, oh, it's the wrong date, and I also don't have enough time. I need like 3.5 hours minimum to do it, and I actually don't have that time, so I can't do it. So it was kind of an impromptu choice to actually play Silent Hill 4 now, because I really thought I was going to finish Tormented Souls first and get the platinum, and that way the game would be complete, but no, I just don't have enough time. So we did this instead. So that's Silent Hill 4 for your first impression of it. I hope you're enjoying it. It's very slow paced at the beginning. It's not like the other Silent Hills where 3 kind of starts off pretty brutal right away. So does 1. 1 starts with losing your daughter right away, so that's pretty heavy from the get-go. And then 2, you do have to take that long walk as James, where you walk all the way from like the vista and the viewing section all the way to that little corner where you fight the first monster. It's like 25 minutes. So the second game does start off pretty slow, but this one starts off pretty slow too. I don't think there's anyone outside, right? Let's see. Nope. Oh, before we go, let's check on Eileen, see what she's doing in her room. You can get some pretty rare little scenes with her depending on when you look through the hole. Okay, so she's not there. Perfect, that means we don't miss anything. So yeah, it's you can see right away it's very different from other Silent Hill games. You can see like the first person view here years before Kojima ever even thought of doing it. Way long before Kojima ever thought of doing first person Silent Hill. They were doing it here with Akira and his team. And you also see the combat is different. You have that charge move, which is pretty useful. It definitely comes in handy later on, especially with the axe. Like the axe and that charge move is a very deadly combination. You definitely want to take advantage of that as often as possible. But that comes later. The aluminum bat is also pretty good. The aluminum bat that you get, that one's pretty good. So there are some decent melee weapons in the game, but yeah, the combat is slightly different. The first person view stuff here is very different from the regular norm for the series. You can see even the other world is differently. It still has some blood and rust, but it's not really as brutal as the other world is in Silent Hill 2 or 1. It's more like I always use Silent Hill 2 as a comparison, where the second game was more sad and depressing than scary. This one is also, more weird in terms of its other world. There's still some blood, there's still some rust, some of the old trademark details from the original Silent Hill trilogy, but it's also much more weirder here than it is in the other games. It's weird. It's more weird than anything else. It's not really scary. And the other world's not that brutal here, but what you will find is a lot of weird stuff that you will never see in another game, not even another Silent Hill game. So it's definitely worth checking out just for that. So next time when we come back, we're going to go back into the subway, going to fight all those monsters, because there's a legion of them standing between us and Cynthia. A legion of monsters. There's like 12 or... yeah, I'd say like 12 of them easily, because I was about to say 12 or 15, but that's a bit too much. I say 12 easily, because you have the ghosts, which you can't kill. Then you got the dogs, and then you have the other enemy that we're about to beat later on in the subway. So there's a whole lot of enemies standing between us and getting to Cynthia. So we're gonna finish that. We're gonna get to her, and then after that, we're gonna watch the next few cutscenes and also get back to the, well, not get back, but we're gonna move on to the next world, which is actually pretty cool. It's actually one of the more interesting, cooler places in the series, and it's also one of the most important places in the whole series with regards to the lore about the characters, not just here, but in all the all the Silent Hill games, especially towards a certain character from Silent Hill 1 and 3, I suppose. So yeah, when we come back next time, we're gonna check out all that. But I hope you enjoy this playthrough as much as you enjoy the ones for 2 and 3, because this is gonna get rough in some parts. I'm not gonna lie, this is gonna get very rough in some parts later on, and the key is just to be patient and stick to the strategies that work. You know, don't try to play as, like I said, as Silent Hill 2 or 3. It's an entirely different game. You really have to adjust to what this game is showing you about how to play. You know, what it's telling you to do in certain situations. But yeah, even though it's gonna get rough later on, we're still gonna persevere to the end, because as far as stories go, this is one of my favorite video game stories. Period. It's very creepy, very disturbing, very unexpectedly complex, even for Silent Hill. It's a lot of complicated stuff going on here, so it's definitely worth checking out at least once. But like I said, hopefully you'll pick up a few tips for your own playthroughs after watching this and after I finish the whole game. So goodbye for now. Thank you for watching, and I will see you again next time in a couple days on Silent Hill 4: The Room. See you later.